closest that Donald Trump might get to admitting that it was not his decision for that meeting to break down, but rather potentially Kim Jong-un's?
Yes, he was asked that directly, and he said directly, "I don't want to say it was my decision." Obviously, he was being rather diplomatic there, but as you heard, he always said, "You've always got to be prepared to walk. I'd rather do it right than do it fast." So this summit has broken down. It's broken down without any agreement. He made it clear that papers had been prepared, that there was an agreement there to sign, and they've walked away from it. I think he outlined three areas in which this whole process broke down. The first one was on the definition of denuclearization. He said he, meaning Kim Jong-un, has a vision. It's not ours. Now, obviously, denuclearization for North Korea means the removal of the nuclear umbrella over South Korea as well, and possibly even over Japan, the removal of US nuclear submarines and nuclear bombers. That clearly is not the way Washington sees denuclearization. Indeed, President Trump defined denuclearization as we have to get rid of the nukes. The second area in which it clearly broke down was on the issue of sanctions. President Trump saying they wanted sanctions lifted in their entirety, and we couldn't do that. They were willing to denuke large areas, but not the ones we wanted. So the linking of sanctions with denuclearization was clearly another issue, and he says the North Koreans wanted sanctions lifted in their entirety. Now, we know that's their ultimate aim, but was it not possible to lift some sanctions? Clearly there was some breakdown. The third area in which he went into some detail was, for example, on the Yongbyon nuclear processing plant. Now, that's the biggest one. It's at the very heart of the North Korean nuclear regime. He said it was on the table. He said that Kim would do that, meaning close down Yongbyon, but he wanted too much for that. And President Trump said that that facility, while big, wasn't enough for us. We had to have more than that. He mentioned the closure of a second uranium enrichment plant, which the US also wants to destroy. But it was quite clear that the North Koreans couldn't go along with that unless they got sanctions lifted completely. Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State, also added that there were timing and sequencing issues, that there were warheads and weapons still left even after Yongbyon would have been closed down. And he also mentioned the declaration of a list of North Korea's full facilities. So quite clearly, the two sides simply couldn't come together. It is a setback, but President Trump was at pains to point out that this is not the end of the process, and he was optimistic that although another summit has not been agreed, that the process can continue, Belle.